morning, everybody. We will call the Wright County Board of Commissioners for October 26th to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I
pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to see a huge crowd. And everybody has smiling faces. All right, most of you have smiling faces. Minutes from October 19th. Anybody have any changes, issues, concerns?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Houston, second by Commissioner Ketchmark. Any further discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Review and approval of the agenda. Does anybody have anything they need to add to the agenda? If not, I'll look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve today's agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Wetter. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Consent agenda. Does anybody have anything they would like removed for further discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Ketchmark.
one item under letter B, number one claim for clarification under finance.
Anything else anybody would like removed?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Wetter.
I'd like to pull D, just for an informational.
The Broadway Quick Trip?
I'm
Or
sorry.
what?
No,
Oh, D, oh, letter D.
Letter
Oh,
D.
highway?
Yep,
Okay.
about the gravel.
Anything else? If not, I'll look for a motion.
So
Mike.
moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Houston. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Commissioner Ketchmark.
Thank you. So on this week's claims list, as I was looking through, on page 5, there's a charge of $9,925 to Design 9 for a broadband study payment number 3. We did some checking with finance and found that we're hopeful that this will be eligible for ARP money, but it hasn't been approved or gone far enough in the process to get that. And I had a couple of questions, just follow up to that.
Morning, Chairman, Commissioners. You're correct, Commissioner Kessmark. It is just a timing thing. It will be used for ARP funds. We just haven't went through the ARP committee, and we have to follow the procedure that we designed and you guys approved.
Okay.
So we'll just do a correction and move it to ARP funds once the ARP committee has seen it this week, and then it'll flow through the board. And
Mr. Chair. And it was pre-approved, I mean, we pre-vetted it, that we wouldn't even have gone forward with the committee and the expense if we didn't already kind of pre-vet it as, with discussions either from the policies or through Baker Tilly as being an approvable expense.
yeah, but just the way the process works, it has to go through the ARP committee to be paid from the 01, 099. And so until it goes through the committee, it's in holding accounts, and essentially we're just moving it from the holding account to the ARP funds once the ARP committee approves it. So it's just really a timing and a process.
Okay, so 2 more questions. That payment 3, do you know about what the whole study costs?
Mr. Chair, I can dive into that quickly. So it is, they broke up payment into 5 different payments based on progress thus far. This is payment 3 of 5, as you mentioned. So they've been breaking it up into equal installments, so the total is just over $49,000.
Okay. For the future, if we have any like this that are pending, is there any way to put a notation about ARP in the future or something so that we know, or anybody knows?
Finance has been trying to, as we've been getting further along in the process, we've been trying to hold them and pull them and then only put them through the ARP fund, but sometimes they slip through. But we're trying to refine the process, so they shouldn't go to these holding accounts in the future.
Okay, yeah, just a notation or asterisk or whatever, That'd be for anybody to read it.
Getting better at it, but
Okay.
it's a process and design.
Okay,
Some of those are kind of hard to do with the current software too, to be able to put a quotation around it or something.
just asking, just
Yep,
for
no,
clarification.
we are getting better, and certain claims, we just, they give to me first, and I'll look it over, and we just hold them, and not put them in the holding accounts, put them straight to ARP and hold them till the committee reviewed them. That's what we're hoping to do in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Finance loves all these little one-off programs
Keeps
like
us
this.
busy.
That's all I had on that.
Okay. Commissioner Wetter?
Yes, I had questions a little bit about the, well, first of all, it's about the purchase of the gravel. And it included also the gravel tax. And I was wondering whether you could explain the gravel tax, like who pays it, how much it is, and just for informational purposes for
Sure.
the public?
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Chair and Board of Commissioners. The gravel tax is 21.5 cents per yard, and it's paid by suppliers of gravel in the county.
Okay, so from the suppliers then,
Yes.
okay.
They just pass it on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Do you have any other questions?
No, that's mainly what I was curious about, so.
Yep.
Very simple.
All right, I'll look for a motion for those two items that got pulled.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve those two items that were pulled for clarification.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ketchmark, second by Commissioner Houston. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Timed agenda items. We are gathered here today for somebody that says he wants to retire, but we question that that's really true. Mr. Lutz.
I asked him just a minute ago if he wanted to reconsider it.
Yeah.
No such luck.
Do you know what kind of car he drives?
I do. Somebody suggested I just like filibuster so he can't leave.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't officially accept his retirement, did you?
I don't think so, no. Good morning, Mr. Chair, Board of Commissioners. It is with mixed emotions that we're here to celebrate Brian Oslerson's retirement after 37 years with the County Attorney's Office. Obviously, happy for him, sad for myself personally in the loss to our office and the county as a whole. I'm going to make Brian come up with me. So I've had the benefit of working alongside this attorney for my whole 22 years. So he interviewed me along with Mr. Kelly, who's here. Nice of Tom to join us. So I've worked my whole career with Brian at Wright County and with Tom before Tom retired. So tough day for me personally. Those 22 years, I've also worked with Brian as the man. He's a great attorney, but he's an even better person, an even better man. At my swearing in, and I know some of you were there, so I apologize for hearing this twice, but I coined the nickname The Answer because that's what he is. He's been the go-to person for our office, so many of us within our office, whether it's data practices questions or civil questions, something obscure that comes up, but not only for my office, for the county as a whole. And I know Mr. Kreiser has taken on some of those responsibilities as the answer man, and John Bowen, who's here, will kind of step in to Brian's shoes. But he's served that special role as the go-to person for so many years that he's almost irreplaceable. And you know, I would submit there's some reasons that he's that go-to person. Number one, he's a brilliant attorney. He's one of the most modest people I know, so you'd never know it from the way he carries himself. But he's just a brilliant attorney. And you acquire some knowledge in 37 years, and Brian's acquired a building full of knowledge, and we've all relied on him for so many years, and we're truly going to miss him. I'm going to miss having the answer and the go-to person, and I think we all will miss Brian. On times like this, and I've had the benefit of knowing this day was coming for a while, not this specific day, but I knew Brian was retiring. And I feel blessed that I've had him during these 10 months as county attorney, because initially Brian wasn't going to go with us to the new building. So I've had the benefit of having Brian for this extra year and a half, and I'm appreciative of that. But you reflect at times like this for what Brian has meant to the county, what Brian has meant to the office. And I don't think we'll truly know the value that Brian means to all of us until he's gone, and we truly realize what he's done day to day for so many years isn't there anymore, because he fills so many hats, and he's just the go-to person. There's no other way for me to say it. I realize at the end of this week, a couple phrases that I've gotten used to over the years are going to be eliminated from my vocabulary. I'm not going to be able to say anymore, "Let me check with Brian and get back to you." I'm not going to say, "Why don't you give Brian a call or email Brian?" So that's going to be an adjustment for me personally, but I think for so many people throughout the county, because he's that person. So many people relied on his knowledge and his expertise, and it's truly going to be missed. He's assured us that he's going to be available for consults by cell phone. You know, I'm secretly afraid that he's going to stop at Verizon on the way out of town and switch his cell phone. So his other nickname in the office, we call him the King of Craft Beer, because we share a love of breweries, a love of craft beer. So I'm sure any consult, when I do call up, it's going to cost me a couple crawlers or maybe a visit to a brewery. So Lindsay, if you see some of those claims come in, just know that's an attorney consult, and $20 will save us maybe $2,000 in outside lawyer fees. But truly, Brian, you're going to be missed, and it's with great appreciation that I present you with your Wright County plaque recognizing 37 years of service to the county. I personally thank you. I think all the agencies and employees of Wright County thank you, and all the citizens of Wright County thank you. You'll truly be missed, but you've earned this. You've earned this retirement, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Wow, humbling. Thank you for the kind words. You know, I think there's three things that probably kept me with the county as long as I have been, and that's probably just the variety. Number one, the variety of stuff that I was able to do. When I came back in 1988 after leaving for a year, I was basically the civil department, and so I got to do a lot of different things, and it's kind of continued that way. I've been kind of a jack of all trades, and that keeps life interesting. Secondly, just working for good bosses, the last two of whom are here, Brian and Tom Kelly, people who are easy to get along with and easy to work for, and were good bosses. You know, you can't keep working at a place if you don't get along with your boss. It makes life tough. And third, just the quality of the people in general that I've worked with at the county. To that end, I tried to recollect a list, and I don't know how accurate it is, but I mean, over the years, I've worked with 4 county attorneys, 2 county coordinators / administrators, 4 auditor treasurers, 4 different county assessors, 5 county sheriffs, the last of which, Sean, 2 highway engineers, including Wayne Fingelson and Virgil, 2 planning and zoning directors, 3 county recorders, et cetera, et cetera. The list goes on. But, you know, when you look at some of those numbers too, when you talk 2 highway engineers, 2 planning and zoning directors, 2 parks directors over the time that I've been here, that shows you that Wright County is a good place to work, because some of those people have stayed a long time as well. And that continuity really says something, I think, as well. I came up with 19 county commissioners. I'm not sure if that number is right, but the first county board I worked with, I think they're all deceased. I mean, it was Paul McAlpin, Leroy Engstrom, Basil Schillerward, Michelle Bogenry from down in Delano, and Arlen Nelson from Buffalo. You know, I've got to say that the current county board is doing I think a great job of looking forward, and I think Wright County is positioned well for the future, and so I'm grateful for that. Although I don't live in Wright County anymore, I moved to Eden Prairie about 2 years ago. Wright County will always have a special place in my heart. I also want to thank just the support staff. Obviously, I've worked with more than just department heads. There's a lot of people in just about every department in the county who I've worked with over the years. The support staff, who's headed up in our office by Cindy Hull, who has been here longer than I have, and someday will retire. I have to thank all of those people too, because they've been great to work with. So, thank you.
Brian, you will be missed. Now, Cindy or Tom, do either of you have some real stories that you'd like to share with the group?
Nah, just as my first act as county attorney, the very first thing I ever did was I appointed Brian my chief deputy, and I never looked back. I knew running the county attorney's office was going to be a two-headed dragon, and I need someone I could trust and depend upon 100%, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to run my civil division. And my God, he's been cat's me out. And so I wish him nothing but the best. Good luck on that consulting thing. Brian, retirement is freaking great.
Brian, thank you for all the wonderful years of services. You left a big shoes to fill. I think there's a number of people in that attorney's office that will try real hard to fill them and see if they're up for the job.
I think the only time I've worn a bow tie is when I went to prom in high school.
You know, I find it interesting that not just one person is going to be replacing Brian, that it's going to take more than one person. So that speaks very highly of him. So we're going to miss you, and I really think that you should do something about his card just to make sure that he's not able to leave on Friday. And if you need some help, let me know.
That's not here.
So one question though, are you going to use a golf cart or are you going to walk every 18 holes you play every day now?
Depends on whether I get my hip fixed.
Anybody else have anything?
It's been great working with you. So.
Congratulations. Don't forget about us. Stop in sometime when you're in town. Too bad that we only get a full room here when somebody's leaving.
And thank you for all your dedicated time all these years. Gonna miss you.
Lee, do you have anything to add?
I don't know where to start, Brian. I know we've worked through so many issues over the years, a lot of those data practices things, some fairly sticky situations, and as mentioned by Attorney Lutz, greatly have appreciated your assistance in those matters and your guidance and your knowledge. So certainly will be missed, and big shoes to fill. I have great confidence in Mr. Bowen and Mr. Kreiser as well. So I think you've left us in good hands, and appreciate all your years of service, and hope all your drives are straight and the weather's good. So, see ya.
Yeah, and if you'd let us all know where you're going to be staying in Arizona this winter. Just so that, you know, when it gets too cold up here, we know where we can go visit you. Again, thank you very much, Brian. Mr. Hawkins.
As everybody leaves.
Which craft beer place will you guys be at tonight?
Rustic tonight.
Rustic, all right.
Keep it in the county.
All right.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chair and Board of Commissioners. Happy to report to you this morning that something good happened in 2020.
Well,
This something good involved 9.74 miles of County Highway 8 between Maple Lake and Hasty. This something good was a 2020 Merit Award for outstanding work performed on County Highway 8, judged to be the best in the state in the rural state aid resurface category. County Highway staff that are here today that performed outstanding work on this project include Brian Hendricks, engineering technician who worked daily with Knife River on the project, and Stephen Beauclair, who helped get all the pavement markings in the right place that are also judged, and 2 staff members that were instrumental in the project that aren't here right now, Kevin Johnson, construction engineer, and Andrew Electric, engineering technician. Knife River was also invited, and they'd planned to have somebody here to share this award, but unfortunately this morning I was contacted by Knife River. They've had a COVID outbreak in their office, and all their office staff are not available to attend this morning. But with that, for more on this, I'd like to introduce special guest Brandon Brever, Associate Director of the Minnesota Asphalt Pavement Association.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chair, Board of Directors. Yeah, thanks for having me today. I'm glad I could present some good news. Yeah, I'm here to present this award for exceptional construction of Highway 8. Our roads are arguably very important part of the infrastructure in our country, yet they're oftentimes underappreciated. Roads are about freedom. Roads, the freedom to move from point A to B, to work, to bring your children to school, to click that Buy It Now button on Amazon. This particular highway was constructed during the peak of the global pandemic, while many businesses were shutting down, non-essential workers working from home. The road construction industry continued to provide essential services to Minnesota. For the men and women out on the job site, it is often hot, sometimes cold, long days, sometimes long nights, sometimes weekends. We do have a limited time to construct these roads, and we definitely utilize as much as we can of it. The contractor on this project is Knife River. Their company has been a pillar of this community in Minnesota for many years and continue to provide excellent, fulfilling jobs to Minnesotans. To get an award like this one, you need to get all the small details right. It really starts at all the way out in the field from when you're milling the road to bringing those millings to the plant for the plant operators to produce those aggregates, to effectively mix those together with that 100% recycled product back into our mix to get them into a truck, and for those truck drivers to get them out to the plant, the paver operators to load the trucks, and then the rollers to come behind and compact the mix to give us a quality product. It's also the field inspectors, the men and women out in the field, making sure the plans and specs are met to meet a quality product. And traffic control, maintaining a safe work zone is equally as important. And in a project like this one, everything came together really well. All the small details were worked out. And I will say this category that you won the award for is a very competitive category. I think a lot of counties throughout the state submit for this, and this one was a clear winner. It's also the engineers that are willing to take a risk and learn a new technology such as warm mix asphalt that's utilized in this county to lower the production temperatures at the plant and also provide a compaction aid to provide us with a better quality product. So with that, on the behalf of the pavement rating panel, and I'd like to present this award to the Wright County Highway Department. Thank you.
Well, congratulations
Yeah,
to Virgil and all the people that have worked tirelessly on the highway department. And our county roads, we get compliments on those a lot from the other counties because they don't have as good a people as we do.
Yeah, thank you so much. You know when you've been in other counties and get to Wright County, The roads are good.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
Yes,
So thank you. And continue the good work.
sure.
Alrighty. Items for consideration, committee minutes, Commissioner Ketchmark.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Chair. October 21st, Committee of the Whole meeting was reviewing the proposed solar ordinance amendment number 21-5. We covered the different issues that the public and the solar industry had brought up. We addressed the land alteration, water mitigation, including Wright County Soil and Water District, more in the process, and giving the landowner a second look at the agreement at the end before it goes forward, so they're sure everything that's part of the agreement. Commissioner Vetch said that the county is predicted to receive $130,000 in solar production tax in 2022 based on the existing solar farms. There were concerns from Commissioner Wetter about storage of broken or unused solar panels on the solar farm property. So Attorney Kreiser and Planner Stacy Marquardt are going to make sure that's addressed specifically in the ordinance. And there was a recommendation to add and ordinance violations after the abatement of noxious weeds and refer the proposed solar ordinance amendment to the Planning Commission for a public hearing. With that, I'd make a motion to accept the meeting minutes from the Committee of the Whole
Recommendation.
and the recommendation.
I second that.
Motion by Commissioner Ketchmark, second by Commissioner Hewsome. Is there any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Advisory Committee, Advisory Board updates. Commissioner Ketchmark.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Well, MRC, they met kind of in theory last week, but right about the time they started, the connection was lost with the leader, and I wasn't able to join back in. We had a joint meeting with McLeod County Commissioners about a joint ditch proclamation where we have a couple landowners in our county, but the ditch is in McLeod County, and for the benefiter purpose, we had to okay that to be a joint ditch project in the future. I thought that there was something pending for improvement on that ditch, but there isn't. They just wanted to clear it up because they discovered the landowners lived in our county, but own land in the ditch in McLeod County. Planning and zoning, we had our informational meeting with township officers last week, and it was a good turnout. About 20 township officers showed up, and we had the whole staff from planning and zoning took time one evening to answer questions and explain more of the process of planning and zoning. And I talked to a few after, and they thought it was real beneficial, and it was good to get that knowledge from Sean Riley before he leaves us soon. And that's all I have.
Regarding the joint ditch 35, I got the paperwork from McLeod County.
Oh, you did?
I signed him
Okay.
sending it off, so.
Okay, thank you.
So they make it really official. So I have a copy of it that,
They
sure.
appointed me vice chair,
oh, congratulations.
but there's no pending action. Thank you.
Commissioner Houston.
Yeah, I guess we had a number of meetings last week. I guess the only thing, in addition to Commissioner Ketchmark said, is we had the State Community Health Services Advisory Committee, and there's, of course, there has been the uptick in COVID, and the main problem is that they're so short of staff because a lot of staff, medical personnel, nurses have left the field essentially, and so that's been one of the biggest problems. And of course, they have some mandates too. Some hospitals or healthcare places have some mandates that staff isn't willing to go along with, so that's part of the problem. There has been longer waits in emergency rooms and that kind of thing. That's increased by quite a bit. But otherwise, you know, we broke into groups and that's kind of the same thing, Cher, that, you know, we're just kind of, we kind of all have COVID fatigue, you know, and we just want to move forward past this and it will happen. It just might be longer than originally anticipated, so. But otherwise, that's kind of a couple of points.
I've received a letter from MPCA regarding our solid waste management planning. They said that they've received a few calls from Wright County officials relating to canceling or disengaging the county's solid waste program. And they're just providing us with the Minnesota statutes that requires counties to prepare solid waste management plans for MPCA review and approval pertaining to solid waste programs in the county. So they just have the information here, so I just wanted to pass that on. And then once we get our new environmental health officer hired, they want to schedule a meeting to discuss the solid waste plan with them. So just letting everybody know about that.
Good.
Wellness met last week. They have a program on the intranet called Refresh Your Plate. It's running from October 18th through November 26th, just in time of Thanksgiving. The health fair will be a virtual program this year, letting them know what the wellness does and some of the things that are offered. They had a poker walk, and there was 120 participants in that.
Good.
So, and that's kind of was a virtual, semi-quasi physical one, and that will be that's a little bit lower than in the past what they've had, but it's still awfully really good turnout. Jingle All the Way, which is something that the employees are able to attend, and that's just something where they weigh in. It starts from November 22nd and goes through January 4th, and it's just to help you watch what you eat over the holidays, which has a yeah.
Sorry.
You're cooking cookies. You are bringing us cookies again, aren't you?
Yeah.
And you're going to break them so there's no calories left.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Good.
I always take the calories out.
Yeah. Good. Good. And that's kind of about it.
So last week, I94 Coalition had their virtual fly-in due to COVID. There was no trip to DC. So in meetings with Representative Phillips, Senator Smith, and Senator Klobuchar regarding the I94 projects, kind of bring them up to date on where things are at, shortfalls in funding and so forth. So those meetings were good. Also, myself and Commissioner Wetter yesterday were at the AMC district meeting. Very good, very good presentation on the opioids and.
Forgot someone.
Oh, and yeah, sorry, and Administrator Kelly, I'm sorry, yes, was there as well, and Jamie was there from Health and Human Services. I think that would be the entire delegation from Wright County.
Yes.
Well attended though. I think from a district meeting, I think that's the biggest attendance I may have ever seen.
Yeah, I'm glad you could make it. I had planned to be there and I couldn't make it.
Yeah. Same here.
A lot of good questions and a lot of good discussion on the opioids. Probably was the biggest topic of discussion. And once again, it's still a quandary as to how the funding will be sorted out in the time frame that we have. And the legislature not in session, it's, I don't know, would you say messy probably at best on which way the county should go. So more to come on that, and it's going to be kind of one of those things where we're going to have to make a decision at probably the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
I didn't get numbers from the drug take back day, Saturday. I haven't heard, but they usually, you know, they usually get a lot of people bringing their unused drugs.
Did they also talk about the other counties and where they ended up with their tax?
Levy,
Levy,
yes,
yeah.
I have a list.
Oh,
if you want me to.
I will pass it over to you.
Okay, and that I found very interesting,
is.
being
Yes.
the first time going through this process. Benton was 5.9%. Chisago was 5.75. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
Crow Wing was not there. Isanti was 7.37%. Kennebec was not there. Meeker was 2.59%. And as Mille Lacs commissioner, or I don't know, maybe he was administrator.
That was their coordinator, yep.
Coordinator said the rest of the counties made them look terrible. Made him look terrible. They're at 24.5%.
Ouch.
And that was basically because of attorney fees, and then they also were gonna replenish their reserves. So that was the big deal. There.
That's what happens when you buy down your levies
Yep.
to a point that's not
We,
sustainable.
Yep, kind of where we were there in 18.
And Morrison was 2.06%. Sherburne was 4.9%. Let me say that again, 4.95%. Stearns was 4.25%. And then, of course, we were 5.75%. You got anything more to say?
No, I thought it was interesting in looking at some of those ones. I can, like Meager County, 2.59. And I can see why they have to be at 2.59. They have very little to no growth there. So they're relatively, their expenses should be pretty controllable and stagnant because there's not a lot of growth there. So in a lot of the other ones you look at too, like same with like Morrison County. So a lot of the levy rates meet the growth what you're expecting, other than Mille Lacs County is one of those ones or situations where
Their correction.
if you buy down too long, it bites you.
And Morrison said mainly because of labor, and yet still they're only 2.06%.
Yeah, and I question how long they can continue
Yeah, I
those
don't
really
know
low.
I don't.
I mean, just that amount covers our labor, and that's it, if it even covers that.
No, I don't think it does.
No,
Labor
is it
one half.
4.5% or something?
Can I add a little bit more to the yesterday's? Okay.
Oh, I'm done.
Okay, then there were 7 legislators there, and that was really interesting. One especially talked about broadband. Well, they all talked about broadband. But the one I thought was interesting because he said even though you could put fiber in the road, they're having problems too because they don't have enough workers. So it could be years before a lot of this stuff actually gets put into the ground.
Who doesn't have enough? Oh,
Actually the providers that are gonna be putting the.
Oh, okay.
And then this was Representative Brian Johnson, who represents Isanti in North Chisago. And he was talking about, actually what would be cheapest would be to put towers up. So I don't know if you've discussed that at all in broadband, like to put the tower, I think what they're talking, like the community towers and that, where you can.
And we did talk about that, but the
Yeah, they're talking wireless.
Yeah,
Would be a lot cheaper than putting the.
and that is part of the discussion, but wireless still needs to have a point where it hits fiber, because every tower
Okay.
goes to fiber.
Yeah,
So
right.
you do have to put fiber in the ground either way to create
Yeah,
a
but
wireless system.
But I
So-
suppose that would be less though.
Less, yes. I mean, and that's where you kind of figure out Because there's only a certain distance that a tower can serve, so you still have to put
Yeah.
a substantial
He said
amount
about
of fiber in the
every
ground.
8 miles or so.
And from my understanding, wireless is strictly line of sight.
Largely, yep.
So if you don't have the line of sight, you're kind of in trouble there too.
I'm just
So
going
those
by
are
what
pretty big
this guy said, you know. And,
Most of those are under download limits too. They don't throttle you, but they throttle you back. You bust your limit. Most of the companies right.
and they certainly fed us well, so, oh my gosh, the food. So, when Wright County does it, well, we've got something to, being my first district one, that it was
I like the district ones.
very interesting.
Oh, they are. Anything else?
No.
Administrator Kelly?
I was mostly going to talk about the meeting yesterday, so I think it's pretty much been covered. Relative to the opioids, I've had some discussion with staff, and we'll continue to monitor the progress. Anticipate we'll probably have to have a meeting, probably a closed session in December, to decide what the county's path wants to be on that as more information becomes available. I was also struck by the variation in the levies. I had taken the same notes you had, Commissioner Wetter, and interesting hearing the narratives and discussions from the group, and some common themes. A lot of people, when it came to ARP, are looking at broadband. It was a very common topic. Also, a lot of them are recognizing the labor shortages, especially concerns in the law enforcement area. So we're seeing that across the state. So, but good meeting, good to also have the discussions in the halls and after with our colleagues and the issues that we're working on. So thought it was a good meeting. And as was mentioned, we do host the next one in June. So plan for that at our new campus.
It'll be neat.
Cool.
Oh, Mr. Chair, I did forget one, and that was the Wright County Historical Society had a meeting, and most of the time was spent on their new website. They're having their annual meeting tonight, and that's when they will vote, and that's gonna be virtual, and they will vote for board members and also raising the membership fees $5 for everyone, so. But with the membership fees, they're gonna do a little bit different on their website, so that you would have one little area that you could go into, and it'd be just special for the members. So that's more to come, but.
And they can apply to be a membership of that Historical Society online?
I believe so, yes.
Good. Alrighty. Anybody else have anything to add for the good of the county? If not, we are adjourned at 9:43.